Hello guys, this is Ajay and today I'll be showing you guys how post-process volume works in Unreal Engine 5. So post-process volume is basically a filter you use for your scene to make it more realistic, or let's say if you want to add a certain filter uh, when you're working on a game, something like that. Or let's say you're working on a cinematic render and you want to add a filter to make it more realistic. Let's say you want to add a lens flare or a vignette effect, something like that. So I'll just show you guys how to add the post-process volume first. So here in the place actors section, you can see the VFX section. Under the VFX section, you have something called as the post-process volume. Or you can also see the section over here. You can click on that and you can come over to the visual effects section and you have your post-process volume. Or you can also go to your volume section and you have your post-process volume section here as well. So you can add the post-process volume from wherever you want. So I'll just go ahead and add it to my scene. So to add it to your scene, you just have to click on it and drag it to your scene. It's simple. So you may be seeing a cube present in the scene right now. So this is the post-process volume. Any changes we make will be present within this cube. So for example, let's say if I add a vignette effect, it will only affect the scene within this cube. And when I come out of this cube, the filters won't affect the scene. So I'll just show you a quick example on how the filters work. Okay, so all you have to do is click on the post-process volume in the outliner section, then come over to the detail section. You can see there are a lot of filters, there are a lot of settings you guys can use for your scene. It all depends on like what type of scene you're working on. It may be a game or like a cinematic render or something like that. So I'll just show you a quick overview so that you guys can understand what post-process volume is all about. So here we have the bloom effect, where if we enable the intensity threshold, and let's say if I increase the intensity, I'll just go to my post-process volume, and let's say if I increase the intensity, look how the scene changes now. Look how the scene changes now. And notice when I come out of the cube, see, the filter is gone. And when I enter the cube, see the filter. And when I come out of it, you no longer see the filter. So this is how post-process volume works. And let's say if you're working on a game or something and you want the character to pass through this section, you can actually add multiple post-process volume to your scene. Let's say if I want to add a post-process volume over here and I want to add an effect. Let's say if I want to add if I want to add, let's say, a chromatic aberration or something like that, and let's enable the intensity and let's increase the intensity, and let's make the post-process volume a little big, and yes. So I'll just show you a quick example. And for this post-process volume, I'll just increase the intensity. So you will see what I mean. So, okay. And let's increase it. And let's play this level so that I can show you guys. So I believe we added the post-process volume here, and see, yeah, I think you can notice it when the character enters through this area. Can you notice the intensity increasing? You can see the brightness increasing and decreasing when I come out of the scene. This is how the post-process volume works. See, when I enter the cube, and here I've added the second post-process volume, and I've added the chromatic aberration filter here. You can see how it affects the character when it goes through the scene. See, when I come out of the scene, everything is normal, but when I enter it, you can see the scene change. See, now that I've paused here, can you notice the scene? I've added the chromatic aberration. Can you notice the trees? There seems to be a filter present, and when I come out of it, you can notice everything is back to normal. So this is how post-process volume works. You can add multiple post-process volume across your scene. It doesn't matter. Let's say if you're working on a game and you want to add certain filters across certain sections of your scene or map, something like that, you can do it. You can add different filters for each post-process volume. So it's very simple, and I'll just go ahead and delete these two, and I'll add a fresh post-process volume. And now let's say if you're working on a cinematic render or something like that, and you just want a single post-process volume, but you want the post-process volume settings to affect the whole scene. As I've explained earlier, post-process volume works only within this cube. Any changes you make will only be affected within this cube. But if you want the settings to affect the whole scene, there is an option in under post-process volume. So all you have to do is click on the post-process volume in the outliner, then go to the details section and search for infinite extent unbound. So if you guys can see this option which says infinite extent unbound, just select this and this will affect the whole scene. I'll just show you how. So let's say if I'm adding a let's say I'll find a setting. Okay, let's go to the image effects. Image effects is like the commonly used effects in like post-process volume. Let's say if I want to increase the vignette intensity. So when I increase the intensity, you can see it affecting the whole scene. Can you notice it affecting the whole scene? It is not just affecting the scene within the cube. It is affecting the whole scene outside the cube as well. So this is how that option helps. And let's say if I want to sharpen it or something like that, I can do that as well. Notice how the scene affects as I change the setting. So you have several other settings as well under post-process volume. I'll just show you guys few so that you guys can understand. So there is lens flare. Let's say if you want to add a lens flare effect to your scene, you can enable the intensity, bokeh size and stuff, and like test it out for yourself. And there's also image effects where you can add a vignette to your scene and see how it affects your scene. And you have your color grading as well. If you want to add, let's say, a certain filter to your scene, you can test this out. Or if you want to add a tint or something like that, you can do that as well. So also you have your global settings where you can control your saturation, contrast, all your gamma, gain and stuff. You have your shadows and stuff where if you want to, you can change it however you want. So you have all the settings, and you have your film settings if you want to test it out. And yeah, it all depends on like what type of scene you're working on, and you can mess around with the black clip and also the white clip settings to see how it works for you best for your scene. So also you have quite a lot of settings. I would suggest you guys to test out each setting to see which is best for your scene. This is basically it, guys. So this is how post-process volume is actually used for your scene, and I would actually suggest you guys to test out each settings and see if it is actually better for your scene or not, because a lot of settings here can also be done on like external softwares. Let's say if you want to add a lens flare or chromatic aberration, or let's say if you want to add a certain filter, that can also be done in DaVinci Resolve, as well as you can also do the color grading and quite a lot of things in DaVinci Resolve. So it is not necessary you'll have to do all the post-process settings here in Unreal Engine 5. It all depends on like your scene and what you're working on. So post-process volume can be used for daylight. Let's say if you're working in a night scene, you can do that as well. You can also add post-process volume when you're working on a scene where it's raining or snowing to make it more realistic and stuff. I'll just show you guys a quick example of using the ultra dynamic weather. Let's make it rain. So I'll just show you guys. So I've just add the weather option here, and it's actually raining now. So let's go back to the post-process volume, and let's play around with like few settings so that you guys can understand. You can see this actually looks realistic. You can see the surface, you can see the water droplets, you can see the puddles, and if you mess around with a few settings you can actually make it more realistic and lifelike. Okay, let's go to the image effects section, and if you enable the vignette intensity, and if you increase the intensity, you can actually make it more realistic and stuff. So this is where post-process volume, see, this makes it more cinematic. This looks actually very realistic, and when you actually create a sequence and add a camera to your scene and render it out, I swear this will look realistic. And yeah, this is how you use the post-process volume to your scene. Look at the manual cover, and yeah, this looks very realistic. And okay, and if you want to see how your scene looks without the post-process volume, this is the best way. You just go over, you can see the toggle option where you can enable the post-process volume. Just click on it to see how your scene without the filter. So let's add something else as well. Let's increase the intensity under bloom and see how it affects your scene, whether it makes your scene looks more brighter or more darker. It all depends on you. It's more of like a personal preference. So, and let's say you want to add a chromatic aberration or something like that. So this is how you do it. So, and you can also mess around with the color grading, temperature, all your saturation and stuff, and see how it affects your scene. So this is it, guys. This is how post-process volume affects your scene. And I hope you guys like this video, and if you have any questions, please post them in the comment section and I'll be happy to help you guys. If you have anything else you would like to share as well, please post them in the comments, and I'll be happy to help. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you and have a nice day.